Adelaide is one of the locations that we are planning on coming to when we come down under in September. But because Tom Gleeson doesn't do a go away version, I suppose we better watch the Getaway version.
Although it's the capital city of South Australia, Adelaide is more like a big country town. It's unhurried and unfussed. It's neat and orderly. It's a city of sandstone, spires and steeples. It's embraced by the sleepy hills to the north and the calm sea to the south. And you suspect there's just a touch of the gaze of the good Lord above looking down on his city of churches. But lift the cloak of quiet respectability and you'll find there's a lot going on.
When I think of Adelaide, I don't think necessarily of hustle and bustle. And I think that's almost what he's describing. It's quite peaceful, it's quite relaxed, but actually underneath, there may be a little bit more.
Underneath.
The number one stop, not just in Adelaide, but the entire state, is at Central Market.
This is say cheese, the one I was telling you about.
Oh, it's huge.
And when you visit with Scenic, you'll be taken on a personal guided tour.
Few people have...
Who's taking us on a personal tour then, eh? Let us know in the comments. When we come to Adelaide, we won't have a clue where to go.
This incredible passion that once you unearth...
Hang on, did you just see that name? I'm pretty sure this is not Tom Gleeson's brother. Oh, Mark Gleeson.
there's a lovely story behind it.
Operating for 140 years, the Central Market and its stall holders are as diverse as the city itself.
It's delicious.
I've never drunk tea like that before. I've been all over the world.
There we go.
There you go.
Literally in Sahara here. Just help me with some imagination.
My one piece of advice is to come here on an empty stomach.
Now, when I think of markets, this sort of market, it doesn't necessarily entice me too much. However, what does entice me is, like what he's saying, come on an empty stomach. If it's a market where you're able to try all these different things from these different food stalls, that is amazing. That is the sort of thing I want to do. Be able to taste all these different flavours and you know, all these different variety of foods. That would be brilliant. Now, for a tourist, I don't think a normal market is that great because you can't really buy stuff to take with you. You know, you're there for a short amount of time. There's no point in getting a load of fruit and veg or a load of meat because that's not going anywhere. But having a market where you can actually eat at is brilliant. You know, I'd love to sample, especially local things, local to Adelaide. That would be perfect.
I can guarantee that is not how you'll leave.
Just a bit of ham.
Ooh.
It's very generous. Very generous helping, isn't it? I know, they don't muck around, do they?
Adelaide has been dubbed the 7-minute city for its ease of access to its main attractions.
How important is that? How important is that for a city? That you can get to lots of local attractions easily. You know, I think that is ideal if you can do that. I think if you go to London, yes, I know there's the underground, but it is a pain in the backside to get places in London unless it is those central things like the London Eye and Parliament and things like that. So this sounds a lot better.
This is without doubt one of the most beautiful sporting
Adelaide
stadiums
Oval.
ever, host to Aboriginal corroborees, soccer matches, football matches, even an American gridiron match, which back in 1942 drew a crowd here of 30,000 people, none of whom knew what the hell was going on.
If you haven't already seen, I did a VR stadium tour of the Adelaide Oval, and I was loving it then when I saw it in sort of VR, and what a cool stadium. It's the fact that you've got the grass to sit on, and then the opposite side is that huge stand. It's a truly brilliant stadium that mixes the old and the new together.
In 1977, Fleetwood Mac was the first rock band to play here, but being Fleetwood Mac, I doubt
The
they ever
scoreboard's
remembered.
original as well, isn't it?
The Adelaide Oval is, however, most famous for cricket, regarded by players, fans and commentators the world over as the most delightful cricket ground on the planet.
Its extensive history has left plenty of tales to be told.
That is the classic scoreboard, isn't it? Nothing's changed.
Nothing much has changed since 1911, no.
That is old school.
Wow, it's
Gonna wind it up.
very agricultural, isn't it? What is it, hand cranked or something?
Yes, these are
right.
the numbers that go up when the team scores runs, when the sundries, and then up on the next level, the batsman. So
This is another level, yeah, okay.
yeah, so it's a chain and gear, and wind the numbers on.
Do they have? Do they use this for other sports? So, for example, AFL. Do they use it for AFL and wind up the numbers? Just working out where they would actually put it, or is it only used for cricket?
Oh, and it shows you the number on the backside, right? Yeah, but out there, it's going to be different.
The other
isn't
way
it?
round.
Out there, it's the opposite way round. Yes.
So we're reading it as 35, but they're reading it as 53.
53.
So you've got to be a genius to operate it. We won't get a job.
From here, we're heading an hour up the road to one of the world's greatest wine regions.
Back in the 1840s, this was a barren, beltingly hot valley floor. It was basically unwanted, avoided even, until German immigrants figured that even such a harsh, baked, punished bit of terrain was better than the religious persecution they'd endured back in the fatherland. So little did they know that what they began back then would become this, the Barossa, one of the...
Doesn't look that barren and whatnot now, does it? Look at the greenery. A little thing I'm going to mention. When we've said about where we're going, Melbourne up to Adelaide and whatnot, so many people have said about going to a winery and if I'm honest, we're not really wine drinkers. Now, I've drunk Australian wine. Obviously, it's imported and it's not completely fresh. It's in a bottle, but I'm not sure if wine tasting and going to a winery is our thing. Just so you know.
the most revered wine regions in the world.
But it is beautiful. It is beautiful there. Look at it.
Of all of the wineries in the area, Seppelsfield stands out for its grand setting and truly unique tasting experience.
This is a most impressive barrel room. How many years vintages do you have here?
We've got over 130 vintages currently under this one roof, so all the way back to 1878.
And consecutive years?
Yeah, and we haven't missed one yet, touch wood.
Hideous though it is, I'm wondering, would you have my birth year? Well, you must. 1959?
Absolutely, David. So you can see a bit of colour there already.
Oh, and look
more
at the
than
thickness
colour.
of it too.
Jesus.
It's got a lot of toffee, caramel, maybe a little bit of sort of cinnamon spice to it.
Now, is this wine or is this port? I'm sure it said port on the barrel.
That is a bit of spice.
So super concentrated, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
So
Or maybe it is
arguably
wine just very
beautiful
concentrated, like you
drinking
said.
in this era.
But still quite lively.
Seppelsfield has undergone an impressive restoration, but still manages to maintain its unique heritage and traditions.
And the traditional way of making a barrel has never changed?
No, we haven't changed it, and that's what we're known for here. And we want to keep the original hand tool method. Well done. And there you go. Look at that beautiful layer of charcoal there. All those consistent smells.
Oh, the flavour is great.
Beautiful.
So all that's brilliant. So actually, I this is funny. I just said I don't really have any interest in going to a winery, but learning about things like that. Bear in mind, I drink my liquor of choice or spirit of choice. I would call it spirit. Is Southern Comfort, and so you know the process of that is in a barrel and things like that. So that is interesting. Well, there you go. Exploring Adelaide, the city of churches. Not interested in the churches, but that market looks brilliant. Going to the Adelaide Oval, especially if it is if one of the playoffs games are going to be there, or the finals game of the AFL is going to be there. That would be brilliant and incredible. It's a lot of planning going to go on, probably a little bit closer to the time. Adelaide looks a beautiful place to live, and it looks a beautiful place to visit.